Dixie Southern Shore, from Atlantic to the Pacific. Gee, the traffic is terrific. Oh, there's no place like home for the holiday.
Well, hello everybody and welcome to my show. My name is Jason DaCosta and it is freezing out there today. It's about, come on now, you got the green light. It's about, I don't know, colder than a polar bear's toenails out there. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Christmas is right around the corner, so I figured I'd bless you with a little scratchy, raspy Christmas music coming straight from the 06 Silverado. And factory radio, by the way. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of rant a little bit today. Saw a few more comments on the channel, man, and it's, you know, they come to my email, and they've been coming to my email as of late, the last few months, which is interesting because YouTube's about as consistent as I don't know, who the hell knows, but they're just not consistent. So I see some, I don't get notifications for others, I do get notifications for these ones. It's just very confusing, but haven't been able to really answer them all. I just suggest that if you have a topic in mind, or if you are looking for a topic on my channel, just Google it, or not Google it, YouTube search it, right? Just put, for instance, wheat and tares, right? Because somebody asked about the wheat and tares last night in a comment, if I've done any material on that, and I'm sure I have. As a matter of fact, I know I have. But if you just put Jason DaCosta, wheat and tares, you should get a video or two or three. Because I've touched on pretty much everything. I mean, look, there's a few passages that are kind of ridiculously silly in the sense that, you know, people use them to combat the mountain of IO evidence. For instance, one of them is a sort of a weird wording in Matthew 22 when Jesus is giving the parable about the kingdom and this, that, and the other, and the wedding feast and whatnot. And they look at that and they're like, look, he worded it a little different over here, which seems to me that he's saying that there is some wedding feast stuff going on. I mean, give me a break, people. Really? Like, if that's the one place that you have to dig up in all of the New Testament to make your case, then you don't have a very good case at all. But people do this, right? They look at a few random spots that where something might be worded just slightly different or just a little bit unclear, and they hang their hat upon that as if it were gold. And I've been telling people all along that that's not the proper way to do Bible, right? It's just not. It's not the proper way to do anything, actually. The proper way is to go where the preponderance of evidence leads. And, you know, I usually give the analogy in a court of law. Come on through, lady. In a court of law, you basically go where the evidence leads, right? You don't look at one little piece of evidence and build your case around that one little piece of evidence. No, that would be silly. And nobody ever wins any court cases or any decisions or wins over the jury by having 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of small little questionable evidence, right? When you win over a jury, it's because you have overwhelming proof. You have overwhelming evidence. You have statements and, you know, videos and surveillance, whatever the case may be, that is crystal clear, right? There's literally no way that you can get around it. And so that's how you win cases, right? But it's not so with people when they come against IO, right? They look at all the evidence. They look at the mountains of scriptural evidence, the mountains of contextual evidence. They look at the trajectory that we bring forth, and they still say, no, look at this. I found this one place in Matthew 87, verse 94. It tells me that, look, I'm a spiritual Israelite by faith. I mean, it's just silly, right? So, yeah, I just kind of wanted to mention that. If you're going to be one of the people who hinge upon the very weak and very lame few arguments that people do when they come against IO, then don't bother, commenting, because I'm not going to comment back. There's also a few clowns, Keith Rhodes. These are the names on YouTube. Keith Rhodes, Preterist, AD 70, I think is one name. And then there's this bonehead called Blue Light. who keeps commenting saying he's spiritual Ephraim. I mean, it's just, these people are crazy, right? I mean, these are grown men, and they're saying that they're spiritual Ephraim, right? I might as well say I'm a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. I mean, what's the difference? But yet they don't have any powers. They don't have any Holy Spirit gifts. They can't verify that they are actually Holy Spirit-filled believers. They are certainly not immortal. They certainly will die. They certainly do get married. And these are all things that Jesus said would not happen in the age to come. The very same age to come that these fulfilled believers claim that they're living in today, yet they're married, they're going to die, they're not like angels. And Jesus said very clearly that in the age to come, they will neither marry nor give in marriage, nor will they die anymore, because they'll be like angels in heaven. So if you're in the age to come today, then something ain't right, Jack. But yeah, these three bozos, they come on the channel, and it's random, right? They comment at the exact same time, exact same time, on the exact same videos, in the exact same comment thread, every time. And it's not just new videos. They like to take it back, way back, some months old, and it's like they all just had, you know, a hunch to go back 4 months and find a random video that I did and all comment in the same thread at the exact same time about the exact same thing. So really what that leads me to believe is this is one bonehead who has 3 different accounts, and he's just basically trying to put forth a show for the audience or for the crowd, for the peanut gallery, to make it seem as though there's solid arguments against IO and there's people that come together against the position. And of course there is, but there's no solid arguments. It's all a joke, right? I mean, they come on and one guy says, I'm spiritual Ephraim. The other guy immediately comments, amen, dude, I'm spiritual Ephraim too, stuff like that. So, just a few clowns, grown men, nothing better to do, or grown man, I should say, with 3 accounts. In other news, I heard that Michael Barris and Michael Bradley are going to be on Myth Vision podcast. As a matter of fact, I believe they're recording the episode today. I could be wrong. But I was told from Bradley that they're going to be on Myth Vision podcast with a scholar of sorts, and they're going to be doing a whole show on Israel only, and they're going to be reviewing it and presenting material and getting this scholar's opinion on it. So they're going to be on Myth Vision with this scholar. And if you recall, a couple of years back, I went on Myth Vision when Myth Vision was a lot smaller. It was probably only, 20% of the subscribers that it has now. And so now they're going on there with about, maybe close to 40,000 subs last I checked. And they're going to be presenting the case. And this scholar is probably going to, if I could predict it, he may be respectful and polite, but he's probably going to, try to scoff a little bit at the fact that these guys, Mike and Mike, are going to be trying to make sense of the story and follow the natural trajectory and all that. I mean, stuff that any logical, normal, sane person would take seriously. These guys are going to laugh at and mock. And the reason they do so is because they've invested and studied, and they're so vested into their profession, like Dick Carrier and the boys, Bob Price. They're so vested that when some little guy like me or Mike and Mike, when we come along and we just hit them with the truth, it stings, right? It flares up that cognitive dissonance that we always talk about, and they just can't handle it. So instead of addressing it properly and admitting that, hey, these guys have a good case here, they would rather scoff and shoot it down. So I hope that's not the case with this scholar. I'm sure Mike and Mike will represent the position very well. Brass Knuckle Bradley and Michael Barris. And so it should be good. I remember when I was on Myth Vision, and sorry, that was my Dunkin' bag. And after the interview went live, or was aired, a bunch of people started kind of like mocking, and there were some people who admitted in the comments that it was very solid information and it made a lot of sense. But there was a bunch of people in the comments who kind of laughed at it, like, this kid's an idiot, he's trying to make sense of the Bible, blah, blah, blah. And again, this is nothing more than people who have, spent the last 10, 20, 30 years, trying to find ways to debunk the story as, pure nonsense, or copied from other people or other ancient tales or myths or whatever the case may be. So they have this whole, bag full of reasoning and explanations and arguments against Christianity. So when someone like IO comes along and says, hey, it's actually a lot easier than that, check this out, they don't like it. And so it got a lot of harsh criticism. And I sense that, and I predict that that'll be the same with Mike and Mike, although it'll be a lot more of a formal type deal. So I think that maybe they'll get a little bit more respect, especially if the scholar shows that or admits that there's something to be said there, or something to be, shown for the view. So let's hope it goes well. Let's hope that it, gains a lot of views and people take an interest to it. I'll keep you posted as to when it's out. Anyways, I wanted to briefly just bring up one quick point here on Monday morning. It is Monday. This is going out today. When you think about the word mission, right? How can a mission not have a fulfillment? How can a mission not have an end? How can a mission be never ending, right? And this is a twofold problem, both for the futurist and for the full preterist. Actually, it's a threefold problem, because it works against the people like Dick Carrier and the Myth Boys. It works against all of them, right? How can it not have an ending, right? If I said that your mission is to go out and assassinate a person, that's your mission, right? There's a fulfillment to that mission, okay? That mission will come to its fulfillment when that person has been taken care of. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Thrown in the ocean with cement shoes. You know what I mean? That's when that mission would be fulfilled. Any mission must have a fulfillment. And when we look at Jesus and what he says when he kicks off the commission, the mission, right? When he's telling them, listen, this is your mission. He doesn't give them this never-ending scenario that people think of. No, he says, go to Judea, Samaria, the ends of the land. This gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world, and then the end will come. To all nations, and then the end will come, it says. So it wasn't ever portrayed as a never-ending mission. We've sort of invented that, because the futurists especially like to say that there's still a gospel mission going on and people are being gathered in. But that was actually done. That had to be fulfilled by the time of the destruction of Jerusalem, which was the end. So when we look at the mission and we see how temporary it was, we realize that futurists and preterists alike have big problems. The futurist says that the mission's still going on. Jesus said that the mission would end or be fulfilled and reach all nations by the time of the destruction, which was the end. Matthew 24, verse 12 and 13. So the futurist has a big problem there. The preterist, who thinks that it's all fulfilled yet somehow still going on today, has an even bigger issue, because what's going on today, right? If the gospel mission, the great gospel commission, is fulfilled and it's all done, then what's going on today? Is this just like part 2? Is this, gospel 2A or whatever you call it? No, that doesn't make any sense, right? So they don't have a pot to piss in when it comes to the Great Commission, because a lot of them, including Don Preston himself, agree that the Great Commission was fulfilled at the coming of the Lord. So there can be no commission today. And this actually, no mission today. And this actually works against the myth guys too, because the whole argument of myth guys, like Carrier and others, when it comes to Paul, is that Paul was putting forth a new system that included this mission, a new gospel system, a new good news system that was going to carry on for generation upon generation, right? That was going to continue. That's what they claim, right? They don't believe it. They think it's all nonsense, but they believe that that's what Paul said, and that's what his goal was. So if the Great Commission ended at the destruction of the temple, and we know that Paul was basically chosen as a vessel to bear the name before kings, nations, and the children of Israel, like Acts says, and Paul died in the year roughly AD 68, Paul wasn't preaching that gospel mission anymore after AD 68. That gospel mission had been fulfilled. That gospel mission was complete. The fullness of the nations had come in, and all Israel was saved. Now, I'm not saying it happened exactly in AD 68, but my point is that Paul was the chosen vessel to take the gospel to the nations. All right? It doesn't say anything about anybody else being a chosen vessel to take the gospel to the nations. That was Paul's ministry. He was chosen as a vessel to do that. And he died in my opinion, when that was complete, right before the supposed coming of the end, right? According to the story, of course. So it defeats everybody. It knocks out the myth argument, and knocks out the preterist argument, and knocks out the futurist argument in one swoop, because a mission has to have fulfillment. It has to have a point in time, like Don says, if you please, where the great mission was fulfilled. A mission makes no sense. If you're seeking someone, if you're seeking those who are lost, if you're not going to let one go, if you're going to keep them all in view and gather in every last one of them, if that's the mission and that's what's being put forth, and if Paul said it was a short work upon the earth, this mission in Romans 9, then how could we say it's eternal? What are people being saved from today? The whole thing was tied to the law and the curse that it brought with it. And we were never under that law, folks. We were never under that law. We were never under the curse of the commandments contained in ordinances, the handwritten requirements of the law that Christ nailed to the cross for them. Right? The Gentiles, the non-law observant children of Israel, would be justified through faith because, of course, they were not observing the law. They couldn't be justified through the law. They were justified through faith. Right? So there's a lot that can be said. If you need more information on why we were never under the law, just put in YouTube Jason DaCosta law, or Jason DaCosta law of Israel, or Jason DaCosta, 10 commandments. Or just put in something, and I guarantee you'll get a bunch. But folks, the topic and the main point today is that this mission that people say is never-ending and ongoing was certainly temporary. It was not forever. It was going to come to an end. Jesus said very clearly, this gospel of the kingdom will go to all nations, and then the end will come. The same end that just, 10 verses later, 20 verses later, he encapsulates as being in this very generation to whom he was speaking to. So, folks, it all came to an end. Don't believe the nonsense. We're not going through any silly tribulation. No, nobody's going to put a microchip in you for COVID. No, that's not the sign of the beast. No, Jesus isn't going to come out of the clouds in a helicopter taking bullets off the chest like Rambo. None of it. I can guarantee you that is not going to happen. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. It was short. It was quick. It was off the cuff. It wasn't formal. I got to eat this coffee cake muffin and drink this donut. And I hope you all have a great day. Don't forget, give it a like, a Rooski. And if I don't catch you before Christmas, have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.